Hello and welcome to coverage of the 2016 BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. You find us at Donington Park in Leicestershire for rounds 12 and 13, where champion leader Tom Roach has won all but one race that he's finished so far this season. We'll catch up with him to find out why he's been so consistent and so quick. But before then, if you missed any of the action from two excellent races at Brands Hatch, let's hand you over to race commentator Richard John Neal to fill you in.
Rounds 11 and 12 were at Brands Hatch in Kent. There was an early casualty and Stuart Simmons found the gravel in tricky conditions for everybody. Tom Roach continued his terrific form. James Harris in second initially, but it was Simon Goddard who came through for second behind Roach, with Michael Fisk in third. Race 2 saw Roach away and into the lead once again. Some close racing in the pack though, between Simon Goddard, Simon Baldwin and Clive Bowles. Roach though ultimately coming through again to take win number 10 and extend his championship lead, which looks like this coming to Donington. Ollie Allwood in second, Simon Baldwin third from Michael Fisk and Paul Tucker, James Harris in sixth. And Scott took the opportunity to catch up with Tom here at Donington Park.
Tom, incredibly consistent and fantastically successful season this year. Where do you think that's come from in terms of the consistency that you've had?
A great car. The boys at Blendini have done a great job. The car's been great to drive all year from the first round and every time I've got in it. And then just try and drive it well and not make mistakes. But yeah, it's been good so far.
Are you surprised by how quick you've been? Because of course every time you got out there in wet or dry, you seem to have incredible pace and it's forced everyone else to try and catch up.
It seems every year the kind of lap records are getting a little bit quicker, and I think people just learn more and more and more about, I mean, they're like 20-odd-year-old cars, but they get quicker every year, and but that just shows really how tough the field is. You know, every year people take a step forward and you kind of have to keep moving forward to stay at the front.
Race number 1 got away well for Tom Roach, leading from Ollie Allwood, heading down into Redgate. Close stuff, sadly, meant some problems for Lewis Field and Bruce Carter, who non-finished. Clive Bowles was out as well. Bowles was able to make the restart on the grid, which looked like this. Roche from Allwood, Michael Fisk and Brian Trott on row 2. Row 3, Simon Baldwin and Jake Bailey. Then Clive Bowles and the returning Courtney Milnes. Jack Brewer and Simon Goddard, followed by Martin Tolley and Simon Woods. Then Richard Collins and Paul Tucker. William Stevenson and Sam Bailey ahead of Josh Jackson and Martin Canning. Then Lewis Field and Matt Pickford. Ivan Leary and Guy Carter completing the grid. National Circuit at Donington, ready for the second time of asking. Nice inset of the lighting gantry and a very quick starting procedure. And it's Tom Roche that leads away. Ollie Allwood second on the grid, but slots in behind the fast starting Michael Fisk, who goes up into second place. So it's Roche, Fisk, Allwood and Trott, the top 4. Very crowded field going down into Redgate. Normally you get some mayhem with big fields like this, but everybody behaving themselves. They did on the first start until they got to the chicane, as you saw from that brief highlight. Can't really call it a highlight as far as Lewis Field and Bruce Carter are concerned. And hopefully they'll bounce back. As we look at Richard Collins being challenged by Martin Canning. Collins gets a wheel on the dirt, loses momentum. This is up through Schwantz and Martin Canning. Good to see him up in the top half of the grid. In car with Martin Tolley, number 23, challenging Clive Bowles, and he's got the inside line uphill, as you can see, going into Coppice. Grabs the first apex, look for the second one. We're back with the quintet for the lead in actual fact. Tom Roche not breaking away perhaps as much as he would like to do on lap number 1. A little bit of towing maybe going on in the air. A bit of drafting, coming down into the Roberts S's for the first time on this restart. Roche now clatters the curbs. They all do to some extent, but not enough to unsettle these great little race cars. And remember, this is just the top half of the entry here at Donington Park. So Roche it is that leads them down into Redgate, onto lap 2. Michael Fisk still in second position. Third place is 63, Ollie Allwood. Allwood second in the championship. Here's the view from Michael Fisk, looking directly at the championship leader, former champion as well, of course, Tom Roche. Won it back in 2013. James Blake Baldwin 2014. Brian Chandler last year. And Fisk, who comes from Milton Keynes, is challenging hard. He does not want Tom Roche to get away, and as soon as Roche breaks the toe, if he breaks the toe, then it could be game over for the chasers. But Fisk is doing a very good job at the moment. He's become a regular on the podium the last couple of events. Fisk wasn't with us at Zolder, but Alton Park bagged 2 second positions, 2 third places at Brands Hatch, and he's really getting to grips not only with the formula big time and getting on the podium, but also Tom Roche. Look, Roche is not getting away at the moment at all, and this is probably a little bit of an unusual sight for Roche to have somebody so close in his mirrors. So into the S's, onto the Wheat Cross straight. They'll tick off another lap. Roche starts to break away there. I think Roche negotiating the S's pretty well. So you can see the encouragement from the pit lane for the front runners going through. Still got Ollie Allwood in third position. So into Redgate they go, and Fisk closing up here. Fisk looks quicker on this part of the circuit. So through Hollywood, down into the Craner curves again. First and second at the minute, just starting to get away from Ollie Allwood, who in turn is there ahead of Simon Baldwin. Baldwin third in the championship. Michael Fisk is fourth in the standings. 814 points Tom Roche has. Ollie Allwood 768. Big points on offer in each race, and problems for the number 18 car of Clive Powell's. Here's a replay. Clive is chasing. You can see just how there you run a little bit wide, and the rear wheel drive car, of course, the rear wheel's trying to bite on the dirt and they just end up spinning, and Clive Powell's is going to lose a few places as a result from that. He has recovered though, which is the key thing, as we now pick up on Simon Goddard in the 46 car. Simon, who qualified in 10th position on the grid, and this group here led by Simon Baldwin. This is third, fourth and fifth position. So Baldwin up onto a potential podium at the moment. Now Ollie Allwood down to fourth. Brian Trott is in fifth position. So a really good three-way scrap for the last step on the podium. Baldwin only 2 points behind Ollie Allwood in the championship. So that's a real key battle going on between those two drivers. So Allwood will want to get back in front and claim the 2 points back. This means that they will be even on points after this race. The championship points dip by 2 per position. Also a bonus 2 points for fastest lap, which unsurprisingly is with Tom Roche at the moment, the lead car 125, and here he comes in the lime green machine. The Blendini Motorsport prepared car goes downhill now in towards Roberts, but he's coming under pressure. Michael Fisk is looking racy here, and it's a wider line from Fisk. Look at the battle going on for third place behind. It's a cracker here, and Baldwin has still got that position at the moment. A man from Reigate in Surrey up front. Ollie Allwood now coming under pressure from Brian Trott. The Hampshire-based driver is right of shot and challenging for fourth position. So Brian Trott here is going to look round the outside line of Ollie Allwood. Allwood will hold on, I think, going into Redgate. Yes, he does. So Allwood stays in fourth. But look at the gap developing now. A little bit of a space opening up between Simon Baldwin in third and Oliver Allwood in fourth place. Then Brian Trott. So Allwood and Trott probably need to work together to not let Baldwin get away. Look at this, superb dicing right the way down the order. Josh Jackson in 72, the black car, chasing Simon Goddard hard at the moment. That shows you how close things are in Group A in the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. Some real close stuff going on. No retirement so far in this race. Sam Bailey 107 in the mix, 101 is Simon Woods. And here's the battle for the race lead. Tom Roche is under big pressure here from Michael Fisk. This has been relentless so far from Fisk, and it's only going to be a matter of time before he grabs, I think, a 2016 win. Is it going to be on this race, though, because he only has one more lap to go? Roche still there, to some extent looking in his mirrors. Roche's fastest lap was on lap 8 of the race. This is lap 11. Look at the scrap we've got on for third place between Baldwin and Allwood. Dicing over second. Oh, it's a spin for Simon Woods, and he will rejoin back in 20th position. Let's have a look at what happened. Woods in the orange car. Did he get a little bit of a tap from William Stevenson? Goes wide, loses the back end, glances the tyre barrier and rejoins in 20th place. But here's the battle for the lead, and having a good go now is Michael Fisk, who goes wide again, coming into the S's. I don't think he's going to have the momentum coming out of the S's to deprive Tom Roche of another win, and it's an 11th win of the season for the championship leader. Roche takes the checker. Michael Fisk on the podium once again. Superb drive from him. Third place, looks like it's Simon Baldwin from Oliver Allwood. Brian Trott is challenging as well. Martin Tolley will come home in 6th place. Some terrific dicing all the way. Keep your eyes open for the orange car of Simon Woods, maybe back of shot, recovering from his errant moment. Here they come across the line. Rest of the field coming through. It was a good race by all concerned there. Simon Woods does get a finish. He's a little way down after his spin, but it was Roche from Fisk. Roche getting fastest lap. Simon Baldwin third from Ollie Allwood. Brian Trott fifth from Martin Tolley and Paul Tucker. Simon Goddard next from Jake Bailey. Courtney Milnes in 10th. And then Martin Canning and Clive Powell. Sam Bailey 13th from Matt Pickford and Jack Brewer. Will Stevenson in 16th from Ivan Leary. And in Group B for race 2, Richard Collins, Joshua Jackson and Simon Woods. And join us after the break for the first of our Group B races.
So with the first race of Group A out of the way, it's now time to head onto the dummy grid for the first race for Group B. And these are the two front row men on this occasion. Paul Maguire starts on pole position in the blue and orange number 20, but alongside him, a very surprise front row starter in Joshua Brent. Now Joshua, actually, this is his first ever race weekend in the MX-5s, and he's put it on the front row for a Group B race. That's quite crucial. In fact, what we might try and do is have a quick word, I think maybe, with Josh's dad, Kevin, of course.
Oh, hi.
Kevin, of course, Josh on the front row for a Group B race. That's a pretty awesome achievement.
Done well, hasn't he? Really, really well. Very pleased with that.
Excellent. Because you were also supposed to be showing the car this weekend as well.
Yeah, so I'll be out in the second B race. I think I have to start from the back of the B race, but that's what'll happen.
So you have your work cut out.
I will, but it should be fun, shouldn't it?
It should be intriguing to watch, see how Josh gets on.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that. I think he's got a good chance of doing very well in this.
So let's have a look at the grid for race 1B. It's Paul Maguire and Joshua Brent on the front row, Paul Austin and Andrew Adams, followed by Andrew Craig and Paul Bateman, Danny Green and Simon Orange on row 4. 5th row, Nick Riley and Oliver Robinson from Matt Tasker and Russ Lindsay. 7th row, Anthony Hutchins and Bryn Griffiths, Aaron Mason and Clive Chisnell ahead of Mike Close and James Love. Then Matthew Simonite and Paul Hughes, Jonathan Fieldsend and Patrick Collins on row 11. Complete the second half of our entry here at Donington Park. Lighting sequence underway, lights off, here we go. Paul Maguire in blue, left of shot front row. Joshua Brent alongside, but in black coming through on the inside line, or in the middle line I should say, is Andrew Adams. And Adams being followed by Paul Bateman from row 3. Bateman's up into second place. They go through Redgate for the first time. That was a great start from our Group B. Remember these guys, the second half, or the bottom half of the qualifiers. It's in the fastest half already, on board with Aaron Mason, and just around the outside was Patrick Collins in the number 99. But a really good start by everybody here, and it's Andrew Adams, the race leader, from 4th on the grid. Second place is Paul Bateman. Expect Bateman to do well. This is the first time he's been in Group B, first time in the bottom half of the grid all season. James Love in 36, outside line, going up into Schwantz Corner, and we ride on board again with Aaron Mason on the outside line, this time of Bryn Griffiths in the blue 56, and I think 133 Aaron Mason has managed to make that move stick, the 22-year-old from Bromsgrove. But the race leader is Andrew Adams, but coming under pressure from Paul Bateman, who's looking hungry on the inside line. Is he going to get through here? Is he close enough? Under braking? Yes, he is. So Paul Bateman goes through into the race lead. Andrew Adams is down to second. What happened to Joshua Brent? He is a little way back. The man who started on the outside of the front row with Paul Maguire. Maguire is back in 5th place. And now coming up, we've got Adam Craig challenging for second place. The black and white car, left of shot. Craig goes through on the inside line. Here's the view from Joshua Brent. We wonder what was happening to him. And he's involved with Paul Austin. So a good race there. Paul Maguire is on the outside line, and Maguire passed by Brent, but it's side by side for second. Paul Bateman, the race leader in white. Simon Orange currently in fourth position, but Adam Craig, the Stockton-on-Tees racer, holds second place at the moment from Andrew Adams. So along Starkey's, Schwantz is the left hand. Oh, problems for James Love, the Edinburgh-based driver. A long way to come to wind up in the gravel, but hopefully he'll be back out to play for race number 2 as the scrap for second position continues. Simon Orange trying to get in touch with them. Here's the view from the third place car. Andrew Adams, the Bromsgrove youngster, has in the past, of course, raced up at the sharp end in Group B and made the promotion for race 2 up into the top half of the grid. The way this works, remember, the top 5 drivers will race with the Group A cars in race 2. Adams piling the pressure on, trying to get the position back from Adam Craig. Craig starts in 5th. So, and a little mistake there from Adam Craig, who goes off, and straight back through on the inside line goes Andrew Adams. Simon Orange is up into 3rd place. Paul Maguire is now 4th, and Craig is rejoining, but he's away back. We've got Matt Tasker in the mix as well. Matthew in the white, orange and black trim car, immediately in front of us now with Joshua Brent. And Joshua having not a bad race so far. Matthew Tasker's looking on the inside though of Paul Austin. Is he going to be able to pass the Londoner? Makes his way through. And good move as well there by Joshua Brent, who nips up through. The race leader is away and in the distance at the moment. Paul Bateman, unsurprisingly, very strong in the championship. Bateman 7th in standings, and he is away and down the road. So Bateman clear. Andrew Adams in 2nd place. Great scrap for 3rd. And it's Maguire who holds sway at the moment over Simon Orange. There was the recovering Adam Craig. Look at the leader. There he is. Paul Bateman going through and well clear. Bateman unsurprisingly setting fastest lap after fastest lap, but a great scrap here. Tasker gets squeezed by Simon Orange, who gets it sideways, comes back on track. Here's the view a little bit further back from Aaron Mason in 133. Aaron qualified in 15th position, row 8 of the grid, alongside Clive Chisnell, and a good view of what things are like in the mix, really. Has a quick look across his mirrors. I think he might be expecting some company here as he comes down the Grainer curve, and yes, there is, and those coming down the inside line. I think Aaron Mason's going to hold on to position. So Paul Maguire goes through safely in 3rd place. A big battle on for 4th at the moment. And Matthew Tasker looking at the outside line along Schwantz into McLean's, which will turn into the inside line at McLean's, and he'll carry that through and up the hill. You can see the climb here up to Coppice. Contact on Joshua Brent as Simon Orange came across, but these are very robust little race cars, and Brent lost a little bit of momentum there, you saw that, but he's still going, and that's the key thing. So Bateman and Adams are down the road. The blue car, right of shot, is Paul Maguire. He's in 3rd place. We've got a spinner off at the back. Waved yellows out very quickly indeed. Good scrap going on here, and Orange down the inside. He's going to try and make it past. Yes, he does. Goes past Adam Craig, bounces the curb. Craig's coming back on the outside. We've got not fisticuffs, but paint trading going on immediately behind as well. But it's Paul Bateman, the race leader. There's Ross Lindsay and Patrick Collins, I think, that were getting a little bit physical. It's starting to rain, though. Look at the wipers coming on. This is going to make things very difficult because this is a sudden change in conditions. And Brent, you saw there, having a little moment, collects it up, goes a little bit wide, loses a place, doesn't lose control completely. But this might catch a few drivers out, and off onto the gravel goes Nick Riley, and Nick is joined by Anthony Hutchins. So very slippery indeed, slippery surface flag out. Don't know if someone's put fluid down to add insult to injury, but it's a major downpour. We've got 3 retirees now. We saw James Love go off earlier on. Nick Riley and Anthony Hutchins are off as well, but they're still racing. On the inside line there, coming out of the S's, Russ Lindsay. And we've got red lights. There's a red flag, wasn't it, on the starting gantry, and the red lights are on the organisers the British Racing and Sports Car Club very sensibly, because we're a fair way into the race. We've actually had very nearly three-quarter distance of this. Blue skies there, but there was a sudden downpour which caught everybody out. Cars off, but it was Paul Bateman taking the win from Andrew Adams, Paul Maguire, Matt Tasker and Simon Orange. They move up for race 2. Adam Craig next from Danny Green, Matthew Simonite, Patrick Collins, Aaron Mason in 10th. Then Russ Lindsay from Joshua Brent, Michael Close, Clive Chisnell 14th from Paul Hughes, then Paul Austin, Oliver Robinson from Jonathan Fieldsend, Bryn Griffiths in 19th. Anthony Hutchins non-finisher, as was Nick Riley and James Love.
Well, it's my first ever victory. I was on pole at my first ever race in the Mazdas on the B grid, and I ended up second, and so I'm really chuffed to win, although I didn't take the checkered flag because the red flag came out. But there we are.
Still a win's a win, and it's a great performance nonetheless, and it must give you lots of confidence for the A race.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out because I have got penalties from a previous incident, so I might still be in the B race. I'm not sure how it works, but anyway, I'd like to thank AB Automotive, Motorsport. But the car is brilliant and it's so balanced, and very happy.
With the clearing up underway here at Donington, we'll see how Paul gets on in race 2A after the break.
So, a very energetic race for Group A in the MX-5s, and race 2 for Group A is now coming up right now. Front row again is Tom Roach in car number 125, and alongside him is number 8 of Michael Fisk. Now, Mike is particularly good at starts, so he could possibly get him off the line down towards Redgate at turn 1. Back to row 2, of course, we have Simon Baldwin in 3rd place and Oliver Allwood in 4th. These two are fighting for 2nd place in the championship, so that could be a pretty tasty battle if things continue on as they have. Row 3 sees Brian Trott in the Club 100 car. He's been improving race on race. He shares that car with Stuart Simmons all season. Alongside him is the first of the Go For It racing cars, Martin Tolley, very much improved. He's had a fantastic run in the last couple of rounds, particularly Alton Park and also here at Donington Park also. And then back to row 4, we have Paul Tucker, again, another driver, consistent top 5s and top 10s, and alongside him, very deadly Simon Goddard. He always does double duty in the Mark 1s and the Mark 3s, and he actually gave Tom a very good challenge in the first race at Brands Hatch in very adverse conditions. So, for the rest of the grid, here is Richard John Neal. And Richard, is Tom going to do it again, or is Michael or anyone else going to rise to the challenge?
Tom Roche once again on pole position, Michael Fisk alongside then Simon Baldwin and Oliver Allwood on row 2. The third row, Brian Trott and Martin Tolley, followed by Paul Tucker and Simon Goddard. Jake Bailey ahead of Courtney Milnes, then Martin Canning and Clive Powell. Sam Bailey is with Matt Pickford, Jack Brewer and William Stevenson behind them, then Ivan Leary and Andrew Adams, Paul Maguire and Matt Tasker, followed by Simon Orange and Paul Bateman at the back of the grid. So looking to make it a dozen wins this year is Tom Roche, who gets away very well indeed. Michael Fisk, though, will be, I know, enormously buoyed by a great performance in race number 1. It was a good start from Fisk, but Roche seems to be better through the gears and leads them down into Redgate. So a good start from Group A. Remember, we've got the top 5 drivers from Group B moving up for this race, and their chance to move further up the points order. But it's Roche from Fisk once again, and again a very clean start by everybody here. You see so many Formula racing at Donington and having lots of offs at Redgate first time around, as we pick up on Jake Bailey in the 14 car. Jake starting on row 5. He's got work to do. Along Starkeys, up into Schwantz they go. Matthew Tasker there is making ground up from row 10 on the grid, 20th position. Remember, he moves up from Group B, and this the view from Andrew Adams, the Bromsgrove youngster. Andrew starting again, one of the front runners from the B race, starting alongside Ivan Leary in this one. Michael Fisk has got the inside line though, and Fisk is going for the lead. Michael Fisk is passing the championship leader, coming down into the Roberts S's, and Ollie Allwood is challenging for 2nd place. Tom Roche does not look as sharp in this one as he has done previously this season, where we lose track of the race leaders, but it's Michael Fisk leading across the line. Ollie Allwood trying to squeeze across. Tom Roche is fighting for second position, and I think we'll get second coming into Redgate. Yes, he does. He's through. So Oliver Allwood is down to third. My goodness me, what a start to race 2 for the Class A or Group A drivers. Here's the view from Martin Tolley, the Solihull racer. Martin started on row 3, was side by side with Brian Trott. Simon Baldwin immediately in front of him. And Tom Roche has got some work to do here. Michael Fisk is looking for that win. He's hungry for it. There is Brian Trott, 5th on the grid, up into 4th place. Martin Tolley, 6th on the grid. He's going to have a look down the inside line. Not quite far enough up on the inside line to go through into that position. So he'll have to regroup, get the momentum going again. Maybe he'll find some speed down the exhibition straight. At the moment they're coming out of Coppice. So Fisk the leader, and Roche is closing up on Michael Fisk, and he's going to do to Fisk what Fisk did to him earlier on. Now Michael Fisk needs to be careful here because he could get hung out to dry on the outside line. He does. He loses the lead. He loses second place. Gets across in front of Brian Trott to recover for third, but it's Tom Roche. That was a good move by Roche going through. Well read too. Good racecraft from Ollie Allwood to go through into second place. Here's Martin Tolley looking at the back end of Simon Baldwin's car. Fisk, we know, has the pace. Simon Goddard is on the outside line of Brian Trott there and runs a little bit wide, tucks back in, I think immediately behind Simon Baldwin. And it's Tom Roche out front. Oliver Allwood, well, here comes Goddard down the inside, is on the outside line coming down into the old hairpin. That's not going to convert into a position. Gets a wheel on the curb, bit of opposite lock, and punished with a moment on the grass. Look how much momentum and ground he has lost as we go on board with Michael Fisk. So Michael down in third place has not lost his nerve, and he's chasing Oliver Allwood for second. Fisk will be looking to get back into the race rhythm. We're looking in his mirrors when they come down the straight. I was going to say it for the moment, you can't see Tom Roche, but he's effectively eclipsed by the second place car. And we caught a glimpse of him. Roche again, he's not getting away from these boys behind him. I think we might possibly see a challenge here, and they're all defensive. Look at that, Roche defensive, keeps it tight, then at the last minute goes partially across the track to take a racing line, not a full racing line, a racing line of sorts, into the S's. Lots of drivers getting crossed up there, including Jake Bailey. Michael Fisk breaks ranks now. He's got nothing to lose, I don't think, apart from third place. And he wants to try and carry some momentum down the Craners. And he's got a wide line going into Redgate. Brian Trott looking up his inside. Back in the pack we go. Clive Powell's in the green 18 car, coming under pressure from Jake Bailey. Back to the lead quartet through Hollywood, down into the Craner curves. Job to know which pack to follow at the moment, isn't it? Some super racing going on. And here's Clive Powell's side by side behind Powell's as well. There's Jake Bailey, one of the youngest drivers, I think probably the youngest driver in this race. The only teenage driver as well, I think. Stand to be corrected on that one. Martin Tolley having a look up the inside and fighting the car. And how Martin Tolley didn't lose a lot more ground there, I do not know. Take a bow, Martin Tolley. Good stuff, good recovery. And Tolley right in the mix. Martin Canning piling the pressure on Jake Bailey at the moment. Canning in the 291 car. And it's a swarm of these. Simon Goddard is out front at the moment of this group in 46. Goddard in 7th place. Paul Tucker immediately behind him. Tucker, I don't think I've name-checked him in this meeting yet. He's actually in 5th place in the standings, 675 points. A little bit adrift of Michael Fisk, but a big points hitter in this championship, without a doubt, as we go back with Michael Fisk. So Fisk working hard to try and get back into the lead. He's had the lead once at the end of lap number 1. And you can see here, Oliver Allwood's going to go down the inside. Allwood makes a decisive move, goes down on the inside line and goes through. Michael Fisk here, is he going to look on the inside line? It was a wide line by Oliver Allwood immediately in front of us. And now we go back, Jack Brewer in the yellow 93, he's on the outside line. Jack Brewer dicing for a top 10 position. And here we get Paul Tucker chasing Simon Goddard. These boys 7th and 8th at the moment. Goddard in 46 with the upper hand. Joined us midway through the season, remember, coming in at Zolder for round number 6. There's Matthew Tasker in 34, has broken away, Tasker, from the other boys from Group B moving up, and he's in front of that group making some progress through the order. Here's Michael Fisk again having a look. Fisk in the right of shot of the 3 cars that are coming down Exhibition Straight. Has he got the momentum? We've got Oliver Allwood immediately on his inside line. Martin Tolley there as well. Tolley has a big sideways moment. The 48 car of Simon Baldwin in the mix as well. Fisk could make some ground here. Allwood drops back. So Ollie Allwood loses ground and will have to regroup. I'll tell you what, I thought Fisk was gonna do better there. It's Tom Roche incidentally leading still. Brian Trott in 2nd position now. Hear the squeal of tyres as they go into Redgate here at Donington Park. There's no doubt Tom Roche is going to extend the championship lead. Here is Andrew Adams, a little way down the order. Remember, one of our graduates from race 1B, dicing hard with Paul Bateman. The race leaders are on the last lap. Simon Orange in the mix there as well. Those boys still down towards the back of this group, as you would expect. Very difficult to come right from the back in a Group A race. But these lads have worked very, very hard indeed. Got a lady racer out there too. Don't forget Courtney Milnes in treble 7, who is just shy of the top 10. The 10th for Courtney in the first race. We looked briefly there at Andrew Adams, and back to another go for it racing car, Martin Tolley in 23, who is still working hard. And Tolley challenges coming uphill. Get on with it, he says, and goes into Coppice corner. Tom Roche has got the fastest lap, perhaps unsurprisingly, and off circuit goes Martin Tolley. Tolley goes off. Look at the momentum lost there by Tolley, loses 3 places. There's contact with the cars in front, but right out front it's Tom Roche who will take the checkered flag and win number 12 of the season for Roche. Some physical stuff going on from Martin Tolley in 23. He is up in 6th position at the moment. Michael Fisk there crossing the line. He takes 3rd place. We missed Brian Trott in 2nd. Simon Baldwin was next from Oliver Allwood. There's hands out of windows. It was a very frenetic end to the race, a fraught race indeed. Courtney Milnes, you can see treble 7 in the mix there as well. But Tom Roche, who can stop Tom Roche? It looked as if Michael Fisk might have done earlier on. It was Brian Trott who finished 3 seconds behind him. Michael Fisk next from Simon Baldwin and Oliver Allwood. Martin Tolley 6th from Simon Goddard. Then Paul Tucker and Jake Bailey. Clive Powell's completing the top 10. Courtney Milnes ahead of Sam Bailey. Martin Canning, and then Jack Brewer 14th from William Stevenson and Matt Tasker. Paul Maguire in 17th from Andrew Adams and Ivan Leary. Paul Bateman next from Simon Orange and Matt Pickford. No non-finishes in that one, so physical but great driving.
Yeah, it was good fun. It was really close to start with. We found all weekend this such a slipstream around here, and all the guys were really close, and they kept swapping behind on. They got past once or twice, and I managed to get back through to the lead, and yeah, it was really good fun. Everyone was really clean, and it was great.
Eventually managed to get a gap, and Brian attempted to try and go with you, and you two sort of broke the toe from everyone else. So from there it was a case of, with the clear track, did it make it a bit easier? Yeah, much easier, because they started battling behind, and then they all held each other up, and I think it held Brian up a little bit as well, so I just could break the toe, and so I could relax a little bit at the end. But yeah, it was good.
Great race once again for Tom Roche. Join us after the break for our final race, race 2B. We'll see you shortly. Welcome back to Donington Park, and race 2B getting underway shortly with Richard Collins on pole, Joshua Jackson alongside, then Simon Woods and Adam Craig on row 2. The third row, Danny Green and Matthew Simonite from Patrick Collins and Aaron Mason. The fifth row, Russ Lindsay and Michael Close, and then Clive Chisnell and Paul Hughes. Row 7, Paul Austin and Oliver Robinson. 15th on the grid is Jonathan Fieldsend and Bryn Griffiths next to him, then Anthony Hutchins and Nick Riley, James Love and Kevin Brent completing our grid. The countdown is underway for the start. Had some quick turnaround so far this weekend. Lights out to start. Indeed, it is quick once again. And a good start from Patrick Collins in purple, front row, left-hand side. On the right is Joshua Jackson, who will challenge him. Simon Woods in orange is working hard in third place, and he's up ahead of Adam Craig. Then, I think in fifth place, possibly Aaron Mason making a good start. They've all behaved themselves so far at Redgate this weekend. Only that incident at the Roberts S's in race number 1 causing the restart, having been the only real issue of the day. And here they come down in towards the old hairpin for the first time. Joshua Jackson's got his nose in front. Matthew Simonite there in white with the blue mirrors, up ahead of 111 Danny Green. Paul Austin just ahead of Michael Close. It's a good start, bringing up the rear. At the moment, Jonathan Fieldsend started on the 8th row of the grid, the lime green number 36 car. And here's the view from Aaron Mason. He's got a grandstand seat at the moment for the lead battle, which heads up into Coppice for the first time. And I'll tell you what, I think we're in for a treat with this race. Some very evenly matched drivers are coming out of Coppice and onto Exhibition Straight for the first time. Jackson at the head at the moment. He's the car on the left, on the right, the left-hand car, the purple car. Coming under pressure is Richard Collins, coming under pressure from Patrick Collins. As they go into the Roberts S's, Richard Collins grabs the inside line, takes the lead from Joshua Jackson. Patrick Collins is there in third place. It's a very interesting start. Kevin Brent goes wide, rejoins by Clive Chisnell. And here come the race leaders down into start lap number 2, into Redgate. Richard Collins still there. Joshua Jackson, we know he's quick down through the Craner curves and will look to try and reclaim the lead. Well, it's such a great format that the BRSCC do for the Mazda. I said that Jackson was quick. He's reclaimed the lead. And behind them, some really good dicing going on here with Simon Woods up ahead of Adam Craig, and then Aaron Mason in 1-3-3. But Richard Collins goes on the inside line as they head up in towards Schwantz corner. This is Starkey's going up to Schwantz, and Collins, I think, has got the lead position back. Good move by Collins. Collins and Jackson seem to have their strong points on the circuit. Jackson quick down the Craners, Collins very quick along Starkey's, and then up into Schwantz and through McLean's to get the lead back. Here's the view though from Aaron Mason. Mason chasing Adam Craig in 29. Simon Woods is side by side with him. That pair were on the second row on the grid. We've got the front row guys still battling it out with Patrick Collins behind. Collins taking a wide line here. Joshua Jackson, I think, having reclaimed the lead, is going to hold on to it here from Richard Collins in second place. Still no casualties in this one so far, all behaving themselves impeccably. Matthew Simonite coming under pressure from Paul Austin. Richard Collins, meanwhile, challenges for the lead again. Looks at the outside line at Redgate. Difficult to do, but not impossible. Danny Green chasing Aaron Mason. Green started on row 3, Mason on row 4. Most of these cars holding station from their starting positions. Patrick Collins was, I think, the man who made the most progress on lap number 1. And he was challenging for the lead at the end of lap number 1 from row 4 on the grid as we pick up with Simon Woods. Joshua Jackson coming under pressure. This is where we saw Richard Collins go back through into the lead earlier on, as Ross Lindsay now comes under pressure from Paul Austin. Austin fancies that inside line. I don't think there's anything doing at the moment. Kevin Brent's made a good start, setting some fastest laps, coming through from 20th on the grid, Brent, so he'll be enjoying his race. Quick look in the mirrors. You can see in that very, very big mirror that he's got company right up close behind him, but deals with that with no problems at all. Coming through Coppice, and out onto the exhibition straight, where our race leaders are very nearly at the other end of already. Joshua Jackson still in front from Richard Collins in second place. And you can see now third is Adam Craig. Fourth place, Simon Woods. And here they come across the line. So Patrick Collins has dropped back into fifth place. So still ahead of where he started, but dropping away from the battle for the top four at the moment. And Joshua Jackson is still there. Richard Collins will be keeping his eyes on the mirrors for Adam Craig right behind him. And Simon Woods coming up as well in orange, looking for that inside line. Woods challenging for third place, and I think he's going to go through. We might see Craig brave it out, which he's doing so far, but braving it out now is Simon Woods, who does indeed go through the bottom of the craners into the old hairpin, taking third place. So 101 up into third place. Good move there from Simon Woods, and again a great move from Richard Collins, again using that inside run along Starkeys and up into Schwantz to take the race lead. Coming up as well is Simon Woods. That was great racing again from Richard Collins. He's got his car working so well on that part of the circuit, but we know Joshua Jackson is quick elsewhere, and Jackson can read the race well too. Simon Woods still there in 101. Then we've got Adam Craig in fourth position. These four battling hard, potentially could slow each other up and allow the others to catch up, but I can't see that happening at the moment. Here's the jostle for the lead again. Joshua Jackson goes to the outside line. Collins will be, he's not overly defensive, Richard Collins here, and the reason for that was that he knew Josh Jackson had made a move on the outside line. They all go through the S's. Here they come across the line again. First, second, third and fourth. That's where they started. That's where they are at the moment, but it's far from being a lights out to flag affair, with Richard Collins being deposed a couple of times and then fighting back. Joshua Jackson's earned the lead a couple of times and he can try it again. Is he close enough to have a look? It's a wide line from Jackson. This might give him the momentum down the hill. Indeed it does. He's side by side with Richard Collins and goes through. Jackson used his momentum and he's run through Redgate and through Hollywood very well indeed. Goes back into lead position. Richard Collins is again down in second. Will have to regroup. I don't think he's close enough along Starkeys to explore that inside line again, going up in towards Schwantz, which is where they are now. Quick look at something going on down the back end. A little bit of a moment for Oliver Robinson, the 60-year-old from Woodman Common. He's going to continue. Meanwhile, Patrick Collins coming under pressure from Aaron Mason. Mason has a look at that inside line. That's the place where we saw Richard Collins go through on 2 occasions, and he's going to have to try it all again. Aaron Mason running well here, piling the pressure on Patrick Collins and looking to get up into 5th place. Lead quartet pretty much sorted out now. Joshua Jackson's got a bit of breathing space. Richard Collins still 2nd, Simon Woods 3rd, Adam Craig in 4th. It could still all close up. One mistake from any of those 4 drivers could mess things up. You saw side by side Aaron Mason and Patrick Collins for 5th place going into the S's, and they're side by side, and in fact Aaron Mason's done it, and coming up in the mix now as well, and past the pair of them is Bryn Griffiths in blue. What a drive from Griffiths, who's come through from row 8 on the grid into 5th place. So Bryn Griffiths in blue is there. Patrick Collins now being chased by Paul Austin. Griffiths and Mason both run very wide indeed, but get it all back on track. Don't lose too much momentum. Griffiths is flying, very quick indeed. Keep your eyes open for Kevin Brent, who's got the fastest lap of the race. Remember, Brent started stone last and has come through big time. There's one of the go for it cars, 133. Aaron Mason running in 6th position at the moment. There is 41. Kevin Brent side by side at the moment with Paul Austin on the outside line at Schwantz, and that works when you hold on to that and have the inside line here into McLean. So Brent doing a good job, looks across, good awareness from Brent, moves up a cog, uphill. Austin's going to challenge him again. Austin's not going to chop across, runs a little bit wide going into Coppice. The race leaders though are on their last lap. You can see the Green car of Jonathan Fieldsend's been passed, but it looks like it's going to be a win for Josh Jackson. Challenge on for second. Simon Woods is challenging hard as well. Woods looks to the outside line. Collins knows that the defence on the inside is the right thing to do. He's going to hold on to second. Simon Woods is going to take third. Adam Craig will be fourth. There's the checker. Joshua Jackson takes the win. Saw him win a B1 race on Anglesey, if memory serves correctly. Bryn Griffiths next, then Kevin Brent comes through. Aaron Mason next up from Patrick Collins. Russ Lindsay, Paul Austin's there as well. Then we've got Anthony Hutchins coming across the line from Oliver Robinson and Paul Hughes. Danny Green will be in 14th place. Michael Close, Clive Chisnell coming through as well. But what a super race we had from our top four, who were dicing all the way through. And it was Joshua Jackson that took it. Richard Collins looks pleased with his result as well. Remember, he won race 2 at Snet, but here's the result. Jackson, Collins, Woods and Craig. Bryn Griffiths in 5th from Kevin Brent, who got the fastest lap. Aaron Mason next from Patrick Collins and Russ Lindsay. Paul Austin in 10th position. He was ahead of Anthony Hutchins from Oliver Robinson, then Paul Hughes and Danny Green. Michael Close was next, then Clive Chisnell, Matthew Simonite, Jonathan Fieldsend and James Love in 19th.
Yeah, it was a close race, very close race. Yeah, we struggled all weekend really. I was up to 8th in the B race, A race, first day race. Had a bit of bad luck and then got in the B race, but enjoyed it, so it was all right.
You seem to have a knack of winning B races, so you're getting quite used to it.
Yeah, it's been all right. 3 from 3, I think, something like that. But I'll move forward really, but we'll see what happens.
Well, you had strong A pace course earlier on. Of course, you go to Rockingham. That must give you a lot of confidence for move on there and getting an improved result.
Yeah, I haven't driven around Rockingham for 2 years now, so we'll see what happens.
So as we head to Rockingham, Tom Roche still on top. Simon Baldwin, though, moves ahead of Oliver Allwood into second place. Allwood third, Michael Fisk in fourth from Paul Tucker and Clive Powell. Then Martin Tolley, Brian Trott in 8th, Simon Woods 9th and Paul Bateman in 10th.
Well, what can you say? He's done it again. That is now 12 victories racked up for the season for Tom Roche. So, of course, he is now one step closer to clinching the 2016 Mark 1 title. Congratulations to him and also to all of our podium finishers for some spectacular racing over the 2 days here at Donington Park. Now there's just 2 meetings left. The next one at Rockingham in September. But until then, you can catch up with all that's happening with the championship via the website, BRSCCMazda.com, and on their Facebook and Twitter pages, and also with the BRSCC website, BRSCC.co.uk, and also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So, for myself, Scott Woodwiss, and all of us here at Donington, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for more MX-5 action at Rockingham. Bye for now.